Good morning and welcome to today's session on Transforming for God. On Sunday we heard stories from Eldoret, from King's Highway Church, who we partner with in Kenya. We heard stories about their experience of prayer, about how that has changed, about how it has changed them. And there was a real encouragement in that there was a real evidence of a culture of prayer in that place, and a real unity within that was a blessing to me. And on Wednesday, Mark shared a little bit of his own experience of how he prays and changes for the context, and how important that is for him, and it works for him in his time with God. And today we'll look for a few moments at what we can do about transforming the world around us for God. And we can do that. In the book of James we read that the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. And I believe that to be true, 100%. But there are times in my life, I don't know about you, but there's times when I face situations and circumstances that I feel something within me that I want to do more than just offer prayer. I want to do more than just pray about it. When somebody's gone through a rough situation, it's a response, and it's a good response, but it can be a response, I'll pray for you. And I mean it, but sometimes it feels a little futile. But it isn't. Because in those times of fear, of despair, of pain, of uncertainty, the most that we can ever do is pray. And others may think that that isn't enough. They may look at it and think, and sometimes we may feel that we want to be doing more. But the most that we can do in those situations is pray. And when we're looking at prayer and how we pray and how we use prayer to change the world around us, to change circumstances, to change situations, we can look at Matthew 6, where Jesus talks about prayer. And he basically emphasizes that it's not about being seen. It's not about praying ornate, beautiful, well-scripted, fantastic prayers so everyone can hear and be impressed with us. Quite the opposite, he says, go on your own, close the door and pray to your Father. And I think that Jesus is trying to focus there and trying to focus on us, get us to be real, to be sincere. Because often we'll find that the way we pray in private and the way we pray in public can be very different. And the challenge to me over recent years is to blur the lines between those two things. But I really believe Jesus is driving at us to be sincere in that time, to be honest, to be open, to be unrestrained in our prayers. And I think Psalms, the book of Psalms, gives us a glimpse into this. A lot of the time we read the Psalms and it's just gut-wrenching stuff of despair, of pain, of suffering, of not knowing where to go or what to do. And then an acknowledgement of God and who he is, and that he is the reason that they're bringing these prayers of despair. And I know that my own prayers recently have resembled some of the Psalms. It starts off with me being angry or frustrated or scared and being really honest in those times with God, and leads to me just pouring it all out to him. Unrestrained, genuine. And it's in those moments that I've felt a closeness to God in prayer, unlike any other, where I've been completely honest, because God isn't scared of my temper or my frustration or my pain. In fact, I think he really wants it. He wants me to be honest with him, because that's intimacy. I think God longs for sincere prayers. And Tom Wright released an article, a superb article this week, about the Christian response to coronavirus and what's going on. And that he was looking at sometimes the church feels as though it has to have an answer and give a reason for what's going on. And he was suggesting that we just sit in lament and say the situation is bleak, it's not great, and acknowledge that. And I think there's a lesson in that for us, that at this moment in time there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of pain, and that leads to lament. And that should shape the way we pray. That our prayers are guided by the situation we find ourselves in, but they're not restricted to the situation we find ourselves in. Our prayers come from the situations that we find ourselves in, and an acknowledgement of those situations. But then we take them to God and an acknowledgement of who He is, of who we know Him to be. So as we think about transforming for God, how we can use our prayers to change the world around us, to change the situations, to change ourselves, to transform our communities, to transform our churches, then I guess the challenge that I'm finding, and the challenge that I would like to share, is how can we be sincere in our prayers, where it is unscripted, it's from the gut, it's honest, brutally honest about what's going on within us, about how we see situations, and what we would like to see done, what we would like to see changed in our world. How can we do that in the way that we pray? And obviously we've all got a lot more time to ourselves at this moment to find ways of doing that, to find new ways of doing that, to create new rhythms of prayer. And I would encourage you to seek opportunities in this time, on the back of what Mark said, to seek opportunities of looking for how we pray for others, how we pray for situations. Technology is great because we can't be together at the moment, but we can use technology to get face to face with people, to get an online prayer triplet, to have a prayer meeting. So the two challenges there that I can think of that for us this week and in the coming weeks is, how can we get to a place of real sincerity in our prayers? And maybe you already do that, but if you do, great, but if you don't, how can we get to that place? And secondly, what are the opportunities that lie within the current situation for us to pray more for other people and pray more with other people? On Sunday night at 7 o'clock, over the last couple of weeks, I've led an online prayer meeting where it's just focusing on a candle and praying for the situation that is going on around the world. And that'll be happening again this Sunday, and Mark will be leading us in that. So maybe it's about making an appointment to get in that, because there is real power in that. Even though you can't see people, to know that people are there praying together in their homes around the area and around the country and around the world, there's real power in that, because the prayers of righteous people are powerful and effective. So that's the challenge for us this week. That's a challenge I'm going to be doing. How can I get more sincere in my prayer life with God, and how can I seek opportunities in this? And I hope you will join me in that. So stay safe, look after one another, and pray for one another. And I'll see you soon.